el documentalista. The mysterious tomb of Alambia, the cursed spirit of the Cathedral of Mexico. The Metropolitan Cathedral of Mexico holds a terrifying secret that has remained locked and sealed for centuries. Inside a white marble sarcophagus. Who is buried there? What is being hidden and why? What is that horrifying thing that terrified those who discovered it in 1629? In this legend, we will discover what happened. The first cathedral was built in 1521 by order and under the direction of Hernán Cortés. It was built over the Aztec temple of the god Huitzilopochtli. Later, in the year 1536, as the colony grew and the indigenous people multiplied, the need arose to expand it, demolishing the one built by the conqueror. In the year 1629, a terrible flood occurred that inundated the cathedral under construction as well as the sacristy. And it was then that the friars Tomás de Salazar and Miguel de Aviña discovered the sarcophagus. The friars informed the superior father of this discovery, who did not know what to do with that mysterious sarcophagus since the floodwaters did not allow them to move it. So they moved it to a place where only the mud left by the water remained. Days went by like this until the waters receded, and then the superior asked Friars Tomás and Miguel if they remembered the exact place where they had originally found it. The friars replied it was impossible to know as the water made the land unrecognizable. The superior ordered the friars to clean the sarcophagus so they could find out the name of the deceased inside and the date of his death. When it was clean, no information was found, but while the two friars were cleaning it, Brother Miguel made a discovery to which he paid no attention. At that moment, he had noticed that the lower part of Brother Tomás's habit was torn. Something like a tear. Brother Tomás thought that possibly that tear was caused by one of the many nails in the construction. But suddenly he remembered that when he finished cleaning the sarcophagus, he sat on it to rest and felt as if someone had pulled his clothes. That same afternoon, the architects and the master builder arrived at the construction site. The superior father showed them the mysterious and strange sarcophagus, and he mentioned that he hadn't found any name or date to guide them in knowing who had been buried inside it. The master builder also didn't answer. He recalled exactly where he was during the flood. They decided to leave it where it was until they could speak with the ecclesiastical authorities. And Lord Viceroy? The sarcophagus remained inside the cathedral, which was under construction, and when the sun was about to set, Fermín de Huesca, a young organist, arrived at the cathedral to tune the organ that had arrived from Spain that morning. Then he discovered the sarcophagus and stopped in front of it. Tempted by curiosity, he inspected it and saw that it had no name, but he discovered that the sarcophagus had a crack in one corner of the lid. When he looked through that crack to try to see inside, he was greatly surprised. Suddenly he heard a noise and saw something moving. Then he stepped back, frightened, thinking it was possibly a rat. And although the silence, the shadows, and the loneliness made that sarcophagus much more sinister, his youthful curiosity was stronger than his fear. And once again he approached and inserted a piece of paper through the crack, rolling it up to make it easier to slip through the hole. But when he thought the rodent would bite the paper, he felt a strong tug, as if someone had pulled it from the inside. Then he pulled out the paper and was surprised to see that it didn't have any bite marks, but its edges were blackened and cut. He ran terrified toward the door, shouting, "Help! Help! Is there someone inside the sarcophagus?" In his frantic run through one of the cathedral's hallways, he ran into the Father Superior, who, seeing him so agitated, asked him what was causing his distress. The young man replied that there was someone inside the sarcophagus. He showed him the stains that were on the sheet music, but the superior told him that it was surely just his imagination. That young organist, trembling with fear, told him that his words were true and that he would never go near the sarcophagus again for anything in the world. He insisted on saying that there was something alive inside it, and then he hurried away. The Father Superior, illuminated by candlelight, approached the sarcophagus fearlessly. He saw that the crack was very small, but there was a possibility that some rodent could have gotten in through it. He put his eye to that hole while trying to light it with the candle. And suddenly his face showed terror, and he shouted, "Holy God!" He began to pray, and stepping back little by little, he moved away from there. The next day, the construction work on the cathedral came to a halt. The Franciscan went to the Holy Service. Senor Oidor asked him to explain what he thought he had seen inside the sarcophagus, but he couldn't describe it. The only thing he could say was that it was something terrifying, and he didn't know if it was a man or an animal either. That maybe it was both things, or that perhaps it was an evil spirit that had been locked in there by some demonic work. So he requested the intervention of the Holy Office to be able to remove the terrifying thing that was inside the sarcophagus. The Holy Tribunal ordered that no one enter the cathedral and that they would perform an exorcism that very night. That night, behind closed doors, the exorcists and the Holy Brotherhood arrived at the cathedral. And after the prayers, exorcisms, and religious psalms, it was ordered to open that sarcophagus. The men worked hard since the lid was sealed, but finally, after much effort, the lid fell to the ground, producing 1,000 terrifying noises as if they were thunder from a storm or screams. The whole earth seemed to shake. A strong gust of air blew out the candles and lanterns. And then, before the astonished gaze of the friars and the members of the Holy Office, something escaped from the sarcophagus. It was something horrible and shapeless. When it was over, they lit the candles and lanterns. They then discovered that Judge Cervantes had died of fright. And as they kept lighting the way with the lantern, they saw Friar Antonio de Medina lying on the ground, who was also dead. Later, one of the assistants made another sinister discovery. There were some strange footprints in the mud. No one knew what to say. Then, Mr. Obispo decided to consult with his superiors in Spain so they could enlighten him about the horrible event that everyone had witnessed. And when they were about to leave that place, another one of the assistants dared to look inside the sarcophagus. All eyes turned toward that marble coffin, believing it was another terrifying being. But they only found two objects that did nothing but increase the fear of those people. There was the piece of Friar Tomas's habit and the piece of sheet music that the organist had placed inside. It was never known what happened or what the thing was that escaped from that sarcophagus. But legend has it that in 1935, when the cathedral was looted by some crooks, a cypress tree in front of the main altar was removed. Planted in 1718 because it was in the way, it is believed that the legendary sarcophagus was discovered beneath it. The engineer in charge deduced that possibly an archbishop was buried there and gave instructions to his men. They saw the name and the date engraved on the coffin so they could place it in the crypt of the main altar. The men told him that there was no name engraved on it, but that they had found some old papers on top of it. The engineer kept them to read the next day, thinking that he would find the necessary information there to place the sarcophagus in the proper place. In the meantime, he ordered his workers to cover up the cement that had come loose from the groove. The men did as they were told, but the next day they came across something unusual. The cement they had placed in the groove had come loose. The architect ordered it to be covered again 4 more times, but the same thing always happened. One of the workers commented that it seemed as if someone was uncovering the groove from the inside to get out of the sarcophagus through it. Later, when the architect was able to speak with Father Cuenca, he told him about the white marble sarcophagus they had found under the cypress, but that he didn't know where it should go. Father Cuenca approached the sarcophagus and underneath the lid read an inscription in Latin engraved on it. But upon reading those written words and seeing the cross painted with iron oxide and linseed oil, he exclaimed, "Hail Mary, most pure." The inscription said, "And I saw Cuba vid laumio," a quote from the Vulgate Book of Isaiah, chapter 34. Without giving any explanation, he told the architect to leave the sarcophagus where it was, since he would have to consult with his superiors to get precise instructions on what could be done. To this day, no one has been able to decipher the mystery of the sarcophagus that was once found in the Cathedral of Mexico. I am El Documentalista, and this was the mysterious tomb of Alambia, the cursed spirit of the Cathedral of Mexico. Thank you, and until next time.